Right, this is my shit right here.
As opposed to your amateur fights, what has changed, if anything, preparing for your first pro fight, rather than all of the amateur fights you've taken in the past? What changes have been made in camp, or if any, going with your first pro debut?
Honestly, I just started just trained a little harder. Just got more classes in. It's all the same shit. It's just another fight, so it is what it is. I was supposed to fight this fool for the amateur belt back in 2019, so it's just taking the next step, but with the same guy. So I'm excited. It'll be a good fucking fight.
Do you think just because you've had that history of trying to line up with him in the amateur circuit, that giving you the extra time has kind of been an advantage for you? I mean, now you've had time to actually like train more, learn more, and actually be in the gym a little bit longer to fight the same guy that you're going to fight in the amateur circuit. Do you feel like that's been an advantage for you?
I mean, I think the extra time, if anything, has been an advantage for him. I'm a level above him.
This turtle position. If guys are good at keeping their elbows tucked in tight and stopping me from being able to get to my seatbelt, this becomes hard for me to take the guys back, right? And a lot of guys will scramble to this position off of like a pass attempt. If I'm trying to pass Ryan's guard and I clear his legs, a lot of times guys aren't gonna always try to frame and recover guard, especially if he feels like I'm gonna end up settling down chest to chest. They'll bail and they'll get to this position, and if he stays in this position long enough, he'll be able to drop his hip to the mat and start recovering guard and working back. And a lot of times, the guy, when he gets to this turtle position, he doesn't wait very long. He builds up and then goes back through and recovers. So what ends up happening is I don't end up getting my points, right? So in wrestling, a referee position, the guy will be here. His hands are, sit down on your heels. His knees are wide, his hands are wide, and it's so I can't expose his back, right? In wrestling, it's about putting the guy's back to the floor. Now, the only problem with using like a referee position here is there's just a lot of space, so it's easy for me to start setting in my hooks, right? So when guys go to turtle position, it's much harder to get the hooks in, but it's gonna be a little bit easier to move the person's body, right? So the grip inside here is gonna be a little bit different based off your guys, like based off your opponent. Like Javi, or guys that are good wrestlers, if you stick your arm in too much, he's gonna grab around your arm and then he'll do what's called like the Peterson roll, right? Or fat man roll. He'll roll and end up getting on top. So anytime I'm like rolling with Javi, I never stick my arm in too much, right? They call this the thigh pry, right? So what I'll do is, and just to be safe sometimes, instead of even getting the thigh pry, I kind of bite down on the hip here, okay? Now, gi, I can grab the fabric. No gi, I can staple the arm down, or I can kind of pin at the elbow. And all I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring his hip to the floor, right? I'm gonna slide I wanna get my knee up to about his ear, and I wanna bring his hip to the floor. And I wanna staple down on his floor. Staple down on his hip. The reason why I do that is if I put no weight on Ryan will easily be able to come back up. Not only just be able to come back up, but he'll be able to do it while keeping his knees close to his chest. Right? So if I do this and there's no weight on him, he can come back up and really not give me any space to get something through. Okay? But if I put weight down on Ryan, right? If somebody's really heavy on you and you're trying to build back up to your knee, you're gonna start extending your legs to get more leverage. So when he starts extending, it's gonna be harder for me to keep him stapled down. But as he starts extending that leg, that's when I shoelace in. So I staple down for the purpose of him extending to have to be able to get my weight up off him. This is the shoelace. So I'm here, now I just slide through, and I already have my first hook established. Right, he's gonna make it difficult for me to get my second hook. So I wanna make sure, 1, I'm peeking over the shoulder, 2, I lock over the hips, and then I extend. Score my second hook, and then once I score, I adjust my footwork. Body lock, or I shelf. Option 2 is when he extends to go to the eye. I block. Here, when he starts extending, I step through. And then now I bite down. So now Ryan's back in the turtle position, but if Ryan tries to sit down on his heel, I have my leg trapped. Be careful with guys that have good leg entrances, because a lot of times guys will go after your legs from here. So as soon as the guy builds up from here, I want to make sure that I backpack, right? That I'm tight on the person's back. That way if Ryan ever tries to roll, I just don't roll because my back and shoulder. But if anyone tries to roll, you kind of stay in position. And then right away, collapse and pull with this leg. Here. Now I keep his leg pinched with mine, so it's hard for him to bring his knees to his chest. Now I just enter into my bottom hook. He's way too high for me. So once bottom hook is established, I release, I hip escape, I peek over the shoulder again, he keeps that knee up, extend, I get my second hook, wait for the ref to give me my points, adjust, and then now I'm in position. Finish. Okay. So remember the 3, shoelace, Iowa, and then what's the last one? Step over. So on the step over, I'm gonna do it immediately off of breaking his hip down. I'm gonna break his hip down, and I'm gonna step over here. Sometimes you'll clear all the way across, sometimes you'll get to this position here. Okay? Once I'm here, I have now a pulling lever with my leg, and I have a pulling lever with the underhook. So I pull. Keep that knee in. Extend. Score my second hook. Get my 4. I adjust, and now I'm on my underhook side, which is what? Boom. I start finding that straight jacket. I isolate. Boom. Or extend. Okay. So just review. 1, he extends. I shoelace in. 2, he extends. I boot in. 3, I step over. A lot of times if I can get my shin over, this will take the ability for him to bring his knee to his chest. Now I just push my own heel, I score. Once I score, I adjust my footwork, and I start setting the straight jacket. Boom. Boom. Okay. Lastly is countering the Peterson roll. I think I might be able to do it because it's off from this side. So what ends up happening is when you extend or bring this arm in too deep, guys will hug, they'll build up a little bit, and they'll roll through that shoulder. And when they roll, they come up here. Okay? You see it more and more, becoming more and more common in Jiu-Jitsu, but it's pretty much, it's a wrestling move. And most of the time when you wrestle, when you grapple with wrestlers, it's something you want to kind of watch out for. It's a really common escape that wrestlers use. Okay, so the first way to stop yourself from getting Peterson rolled is don't give him that arm. Remember, shallow grip. But if he does get it and you feel him roll, what you want to do is you want to dive, instead of trying to fight the roll, you want to try to get ahead of it. You want to try to wedge your left knee between the mat, and in this case, Ryan's left hip. So when he rolls, he falls right into my lap. So if I'm here, if I'm trying to break it down, I feel him rolling, wedge through, and now look, see See how he's inside my lap now? I got my knee to the floor quick enough to be able to get him in between my legs. Now, I want to bring him to this hip. Okay, so I'm going to use, as I'm rolling through, I want to connect and use this as a pull. And I want to use the underhook here. Here. Hip escape. He's going to give me a little, he's going to make it hard for me to extend, stick, adjust my footwork, and I start working my game. All right. I'm trying to break him down. I feel him take off on me. Extend, score, set my footwork, and attack. Okay. Different concept is what a jiu-jitsu guy would do, or what somebody that would try to go back to guard would do. So instead of trying to roll, what Ryan would do is Ryan would slide his left hip to the mat, and he would try to get in front of me. And this leg right here is the problem. So when you feel him trying to pull, you want to make sure you're above that leg. So when he starts going, I want to get above that leg. Okay? Like you're trying to mount him. Now, I'm gonna bring this knee to the floor and I'm gonna catch my hook at the same time. Here. See how I have the hook set now? And now it's the same concept. I use this as my pulling lever, as a pulling lever to bring this hip to the floor, and I have my underhook here. Take the back. I score, I adjust my footwork. So if you know the guy's gonna try to regain guard, then you wanna just make sure you climb over the near side leg. So Ryan tries to pull. I extend, I score. Right away, don't give him this foot to climb over anymore. Adjust it. Shelf it, or if your legs are long enough, body lock. Peek over the shoulder, set, boom, Jean-Jacques choke. So there's a combo. The guy does a Peterson, same thing. Beat your knee to the mat before his hip hits the floor. If the guy tries to pull guard, you want to make sure you're stepping over that near side leg, and then you'll find him right in your lap again. All right, 1, 2, 3.